You've probably poured one of these bottles into your Jeep thinking you were cleaning the injectors, but some popular fuel treatments lack the detergents serious cleaners rely on, while others use aggressive solvents you may not want near an aging fuel system. We check the ingredients and safety sheets. Here are 7 to avoid and 5 that actually work. Number 7 is Marvel Mystery Oil. This red bottle has been sitting on shelves since your grandfather was young, and Jeep owners have been dumping it in their tanks for almost 100 years. There isn't a drop of the real cleaning ingredient in there. What's actually inside is mostly light oil mixed with naphtha, which is basically paint thinner. One user on a chemistry-focused forum, claiming to work inside the additive industry, said Marvel Mystery Oil is not an effective product for today's vehicles. Modern Jeeps, especially anything with a Pentastar, need PEA to clean injectors. Marvel Mystery Oil has none of it. So while your Jeep runs rougher every mile, you're pouring in a bottle that lightly lubricates the top of your pistons, but does nothing for injectors clogging up below. You're just throwing money away, which honestly makes it the mildest sin on this list, because the next 4 are actually deceptive. Number 6 is Lucas Fuel Treatment. This is the tall, clear jug you see in every truck stop and every auto shop, and Lucas markets it like some kind of magic upper cylinder liquid. But look at what Lucas actually admits on their own product page. Their fuel treatment contains no solvents. That means zero cleaning power for varnish or carbon deposits. So what's inside the bottle? A thickened blend of light oil and something called polyisobutylene, basically a tacky polymer that coats the top of your cylinders. That's a lubricant with cleaner marketing slapped on the label. One Bidog poster summed it up perfectly. He said Lucas Fuel Treatment is nothing more than a lightweight machine oil, little to nothing for cleaning. Your Jeep injectors keep getting dirtier while your fuel money disappears. Now here's the catch. Lucas actually sells a totally different product called Lucas Deep Clean, and that one does contain PEA. But most Jeep owners grab the wrong bottle by accident, which is exactly how Lucas wants it. Number 5 is STP Super Concentrated Fuel Injector Cleaner. That red and white bottle sits in every AutoZone display in America. STP markets it as a premium injector cleaner. The label brags about being made with jet fuel, like your Jeep is somehow a race car. Then pull up their own safety data sheet. This bottle is basically all hydrosulfurized kerosene, with STP's own sheet listing it at 80% or higher of the formula. That's basically diesel fuel wearing a costume. The actual cleaning detergent only makes up 1 to 5% of the whole thing. So you're paying premium money for a bottle that's mostly kerosene with a splash of detergent on top. And STP has been caught before. Back in 1995, the FTC hit STP and its parent company First Brands with an $888,000 civil penalty for false advertising on their engine treatment. It was the 3rd biggest consumer protection fine the FTC had ever collected. Now here's the twist. STP does sell a different bottle called STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner, and that one actually has real PEA. But most Jeep owners still keep grabbing the wrong bottle off the shelf. Number 4 is Prestone Fuel System Cleaner. This is one of those bargain bin bottles you'll see near the checkout at Walmart, sitting next to the antifreeze because Prestone mostly makes coolant. The problem with these cheap store-brand cleaners is what they don't tell you. Prestone doesn't publish a real breakdown of what's actually inside the bottle. You won't find a PEA percentage listed anywhere on the label. There's no independent lab testing, no third-party verification, and no transparency about ingredients. What you're basically getting is a bottle of naphtha and mineral spirits, closer to lighter fluid than to a real injector cleaner. And here's the worst part. On a Jeep with a Pentastar or Hemi, this harsh solvent blend can cut the thin oil film your injectors need to seal properly. So you're not just paying for a product that does nothing. You might actually be shortening injector life while you dump it in. If a bottle costs $3 and won't say what's in it, put it back on the shelf every single time. The next product has been dragged through an actual FTC lawsuit most Jeep owners have never heard about. Number 3 is Slick 50. Slick 50 built its whole reputation on engine oil treatment, not fuel injector cleaner. But they also sell fuel additives, and the entire brand carries a legal history every Jeep owner should know about. Back in July of 1996, the FTC filed formal charges against Slick 50 and its parent companies for false advertising. Slick 50 had been claiming their product reduced engine wear by 50%, protected engines for 50,000 miles, and even met military specs. the FTC pulled every claim apart. Jody Bernstein, the FTC's Director of Consumer Protection, said it flat out on record. She said Slick 50's ads made big claims, but the evidence didn't back them up. In 1997, the case settled. Slick 50, along with Blue Coral and Blue Coral Slick 50 Limited, agreed to provide $10 million in discounts, cash rebates, and free products to make it right with customers. $10 million from one additive company. And that same brand is still sitting on shelves today, selling additives to Jeep owners who don't know the story. Which brings us to a product even more controversial than Slick 50. Quick pause. If you're serious about keeping your Jeep running for the long haul, check out the 500,000-mile Jeep Blueprint. It covers the maintenance, fluids, common mistakes, and expensive problems every Jeep owner should know before they happen. I put the link in the description below. Number 2 is Seafoam Motor Treatment. This one is going to get me in the comments because Seafoam has a cult following in the Jeep world. Every YouTube mechanic has poured a can into an engine at least once. Half of every Wrangler forum argues about whether it actually works. But pull the safety data sheet, and here's what's inside that green can. 40 to 60% pale oil, 25 to 35% naphtha, 10 to 20% isopropyl alcohol, and 0 PEA. Seafoam is basically light oil, paint thinner, and rubbing alcohol in a fancy can. On older Jeeps with the 4-liter inline 6, it's a decent fuel stabilizer. But on modern Jeeps with the 2-liter turbo or the newer Pentastar, tank additives can't reach the intake valves. Direct injection sprays fuel straight into the cylinder, past the valves. So Seafoam does absolutely nothing for the exact carbon problem it's marketed against. But it actually gets worse than that. One Wrangler owner posted a wild story. After dumping a big dose into his tank, his fuel filter completely clogged up with all the loosened gunk. He said that Seafoam sure cleaned dirt up from somewhere. But one bottle is even worse because this next one can actually chew through the rubber seals in your fuel system. Number 1 is Berryman B12 Chem Tool. Now hold up for a second before you start typing an angry comment. Berryman B12 does clean. It rips through varnish that's been baked onto injectors for a full decade. That's actually the good part. But look at what Berryman's own safety sheet lists in that little brown can. About half of it is toluene, and another quarter each is acetone and methanol, plus a mix of methyl ethyl ketone and butoxyethanol on top of that. This isn't a fuel additive, it's a chemistry set. One reviewer who works as an engineer wrote something that should stop every Jeep owner cold. He said the methanol worries him and it shouldn't be run through gas engines. Then he called it essentially white spirit and alcohol mixed together in a can. Here's the scariest part for older Jeep guys. Berryman B12 is loaded with ketone solvents that can attack the rubber seals, O-rings, and fuel pump parts inside your fuel system. On an older TJ with aged rubber, that's a fuel leak waiting. Some guys pour it in once, and the old fuel pump seal starts weeping the next week. So yes, it cleans, but it might destroy the parts around your injectors while doing it. Alright, those are the 7 bottles you never want near your Jeep. Before we get to the 5 that actually work, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next Jeep video. Now let's talk about what actually cleans. Number 5 is Liquimoly Digectron. Liquimoly is a German brand, and they take their chemistry seriously. Their bottles are PEA based, which is the exact chemical your Jeep injectors actually need. But here's what matters most. If you're driving a modern Jeep with the 2-liter turbo or a newer Pentastar, don't grab the standard Jectron. Reach for Digectron instead. That extra D stands for direct injection, and it's built for the exact carbon problem those newer Jeep engines have. Liquimoly says Digectron can even lower the risk of low-speed pre-ignition, which is a real-world engine killer on the 2-liter turbo. It's also safe for your catalytic converter and won't hurt your gasoline particulate filter. The price is where it gets rough. Digectron runs around $20 to $28 for a small 300 milliliter bottle. That's not exactly cheap. But if you own a 2-liter turbo Wrangler and you've been reading the horror stories about carbon buildup, this is the safer bottle to reach for. And the next bottle has even more PEA content packed inside. Number 4 is Amsoil PI Performance Improver. This one is where things get serious. Amsoil PI might have the highest PEA content of any injector cleaner you can buy off the shelf. Some breakdowns of the formula put the PEA between 27 and 36% of the whole bottle. That's the actual cleaning chemical, not the carrier solvent. Compare that to something like STP or Seafoam, which have absolutely zero PEA. AMSOIL sits in a completely different tier of product, and the company has published real test results too. They say PI restored GDI fuel injectors to a full 100% flow rate after just one tank of fuel. The test ran on a 2016 Chevy Silverado with over 100,000 miles on it. So this is real-world data, not a lab bench setup. On the Pentastar, on the Hemi, on the 2-liter turbo, AMSOIL PI is one of the strongest bottles you can reach for. One bottle treats around 30 gallons and costs about $15 to $17. Per tank, that's a bargain for the cleaning power you're getting. Now the next brand is what dealerships across America use when they want to actually clean an engine. Number 3 is BG44K. In the shop, mechanics just call it 44K. This bottle sits in the back room at almost every dealership service department in America. Mechanics love the stuff, and here's why. BG uses real PEA technology, and BG's own product page says 44K works on both lean burn GDI and old-school port injection engines. That means it's rated for every Jeep engine built in the last 3 decades. But BG doesn't stop at just cleaning injectors. Their product sheet also says 44K cleans your catalytic converter and even pulls deposits off your oxygen sensors. That's a big deal because a clogged O2 sensor is what triggers the check engine light on so many older Wranglers. Now let's talk about the real downside. 44K is not cheap. One 11-ounce can cost between $18 and $25, and it treats about 20 gallons of gas. On the Wrangler forums, one owner summed it up in 5 words. He wrote, BG44K, twice a year. Twice a year keeps deposits from ever building up. Now the next bottle has the highest openly disclosed PEA on any shelf. Number 2 is Redline SI1. Redline is the brand nobody talks about outside of hardcore car circles, and that might be the biggest mistake most Jeep owners are making, because SI1 holds the highest openly disclosed PEA of any consumer cleaner on shelves. Redline's own safety sheet lists PEA between 28 and 34%. Compare that to Chevron Techron, which used to publish similar numbers but now hides the exact PEA content as a trade secret. Redline is one of the last brands still telling you exactly what's inside. On top of that, SI1 includes an upper cylinder lubricant to keep the tops of your pistons happy while it cleans. It's safe for your catalytic converter and safe for your O2 sensors. And on the Wrangler forums, guys keep pointing to SI1 as the bottle that finally fixed their idle shutter and cold start problems. One 15-ounce bottle costs between $11 and $17, and it can treat up to 100 gallons of gas as a maintenance dose. Per tank, this might be the cheapest legit cleaner on the list. But number 1 is where the real king of injector cleaners actually lives. Number 1 is Chevron Techron Concentrate Plus. This is the king of the list. Every mechanic, every dealership tech, and every Jeep forum keeps recommending Techron, and there's a real reason why. Chevron literally invented the chemical that cleans your injectors. Back in the 80s, their scientists figured out that PEA could dissolve carbon deposits inside a running engine without hurting the metal or rubber parts. That's why Techron works. Every other brand on the shelf is basically using a version of Chevron's original chemistry. Techron Concentrate Plus is labeled safe for direct injection, safe for port injection, and safe in every ethanol blend, including E85. It's also safe for your catalytic converter. That means it works in a 1997 TJ with a 4-liter inline 6. It also works in a brand new Wrangler with the 2-liter turbo, exactly the same way. One 20-ounce bottle runs between $8 and $14. A 6-pack at Costco lands around $36. The standard advice is 1 bottle every 5,000 miles, paired with top-tier gas at the pump. Do that and your injectors will still be flowing like new at 200,000 miles. Not STP, not Seafoam, not Marvel Mystery Oil, just plain old Techron. So now you know which fuel injector cleaners are worth your money and which to leave on the shelf. But what do you use in your Jeep? Drop it in the comments below and click the video on screen for more Jeep mistakes you'll want to avoid. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.